I'm for YouTube, folks, and pickup truck pornography. Um, we're gonna saw an old lady in half. This is a Ford. This is for a Ford F-250, and what I have laying here is everything you're gonna need to section out this frame and clean up and sanitize it. Okay. As I said, my uncle owns the world's largest four-wheel drive graveyard in northeastern Pennsylvania, and he has some trucks which he has very little bit of this stuff left. I'm going to move you a little bit closer. This is for 1999 F-250 Super Duty diesel. Okay, so the frame was super expensive. All right, that's the first thing. Okay, you're not going to get a frame for $200 or $300 or half of your income. This is going to take a couple weeks if you want it. And what happened here? Okay, what happened here is this is what you need, everything. And you'll be able to punch and get out your hangers. Now, why would you take the hangers off and it's your frame? And then, well, we're going to clean this up. This guy's got a lot of cash in the engine, the transmission, and other doodads. And not to mention, why am I doing this? Why am I getting into this insane racket of doing insane things like this? Okay? This is the first part of the video, is explaining that these trucks are not going to be around. Uh, in the future, they're going to make trucks again. Okay, this Biden, this fascist thing that's going on, he's getting tossed out on his ass, and every time you turn around, Trump is stomping on his head. But that's not what the video's about. Okay, the video is about this salvaging these old trucks. Okay, restoration is what I do, and I really don't want to get into frames, but many other people don't want to, and you got to have some skills. But you don't really need really fancy tools. You need your air hammer. You need your grinder. I don't have the wire wheel. Okay, I'm gonna sanitize this frame, but I want to show you why you should do this and strip it down. Okay, this is why I'm going through these insane lengths. Now, somewhere in here, this frame is getting cut. The last time I even attempted something like this was maybe 10, 12 years ago, and it went really rough because when you're doing your first one, and you know, there's your torch. Okay, you need a torch. These are bonded rivets. I don't know if you can see this. These are a better representation. Now look at the top of that rivet. It's like some hammers. See, like that hammer? Okay, that is a forged rivet. So you're going to be burning both sides of this, and at some points you might even burn through parts of your cross member or damage a cross member. Well, you're just going to have to put metal in there. There's no getting around that. You're going to spend some time with that. But see, if you don't take these hangers off, these frames go into a state of decay where they get so thin you can't save them. Okay, this is the worst spot on this frame outside of over there. As you can see, it's almost through. Now we're going to do something about that. The rest of the frame is pretty pristine. And this cross member gets a little thin too. But this one's fine. It's this one right here where I'm going to have some beefing up. Now, this cross member, now remember, I told you, this cross member is coming out. It's going to get reinforced, okay? This is a bitch of a job, and it's why you bill the customer. What am I going to get for a job like this? Well, just for the frame alone, I'm going to get about $4,000, okay? But all of this is going to be either new or clean. These are pretty salvageable. Here's another problem you're going to represent. This bolt, 9 chances out of 10, you're going to be able to get the nut and all that off of there. But you see this? Okay? That's a gore nut, or gall nut. Okay? So a lot of times these hangers will turn into freaking junk on you. Okay? Because you're not going to be able to get this out of here. Okay? The bolt, I mean, out of here. It's going to be rusted in there so good. So you're going to have to come up with some sort of... What I do is I'll cut them here, and then I'll use my this with a cutting blade, and I'll actually cut the bolt out of there. Because these hangers are still pretty good and beefy. They just need to be coated. But this is what it looks like when you start on it. So you burn the front side of your bolt off, let it cool. These fortunately, these spring bumps, they unbolt. But you burn the front side of these rivets off, And because this thing has bonded rivets. Now, what is a bonded rivet? I was getting into that, right? I'm sorry I'm jumping, but a bonded rivet is a heated rivet. When that's driven in there, that rivet's probably about 900 degrees when they drive them in, and it's a driven rivet. It's driven together. One side is a hammer. These are robots that do this shit. And that's why you find frames that come loose and come apart, because a robot did it, and there's no quality control. They got idiots in control. So you're going to have to, you can see the rust and stuff, right? You're not going to take a frame out of the salvage yard and not clean it up, okay? This stuff is still perfectly good. It's just that it needs epoxies. Some people powder coat it. There's other methods. There's all kinds of methods. Yeah, my grandson's here. He got scolded. He's feeding this cat and the other one cheese in there, the bobcat. The old man's going to die of fucking cholesterol. Holy shit. Poor animal's in bad shape enough. He barely gets around, but he does his job as a cat in my security system. Anyway. So, now, torches. What do I prefer in torches? This is a nice small torch. It's not the most snotty, but it's a Harris torch. Hobart, and that is their Victor. This is a Harris torch. Okay, this was off of one of those small burning outfits, and I do prefer this torch because it's highly maneuverable. And I don't have the big gargantuan bottles because I don't do, I might do one job like this every other year, every 2-3 years. I don't do this every so often, but make sure you get yourself good equipment. Another surprise I got, I went out and bought myself this regulator, and it was not cheap over at Harbor Freight. Get it home here, and I realized I needed this adapter. You can get this at any welding supply, but you do need an adapter, and this regulator is compatible with propane. And this is about where you want to be, about maybe 8-9 pounds of pressure. Okay, my oxygen, there's something going on either with the regulator or the bottle. This is not really where I really want my pressure set. I keep playing with this thing and it's not dialing itself in right, so it looks like I'm going to be in for an oxygen regulator, but it is getting the job done the way it is. And as you can see, where's that spot? Here it is. Like I said, this is almost through, and that's your bump spot, your bump stop. So this is not where things belong. Where you need to use your head is this frame needs to be wire wheeled down. It needs to be a dry day. This frame's going to get covered after this. I got a sheet of plywood besides that one. That's got to get thrown out. I have a sheet of plywood, and I'm going to cover this frame, and it is pretty dried out, but we are going to get rain in between doing this job. So I'm going to tarp this thing off, and I am going to cut it. I'm cutting stuff out of it so it's going to get lighter. Right now, when you put this frame on the truck, okay, you want to have it blocked up on supports, jack stands, whatever means necessary. Old tires. Just don't use your old lady or kids. They get a little bored with the job and they'll drop it. But anyway, any way you want to support the frame, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to do your cut and your splice in one of my next videos. I might show you my coating technique. I've come up with some new products, another brainstorm. But anyway, I'm burning daylight, and I'm 6 days behind because of the video I'm uploading with just a set of freaking sway bar bushings for one truck and a set of brake lines for another. I'm 6 days fucking behind. You can't make any money like this. And everybody's bitching about these Chinese auto parts. I don't know what to tell folks. But anyway, I am going to cut that old lady in half. She's parked over there, and I'll introduce you to the truck when she's naked. How about that? That's truck pornography. Naked trucks and cutting them apart. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. I got many things to say about when you attempt jobs like this, okay? That's why I show people what tools you need. You need your pin bit, okay? And this is not a good one. That's a Harbor Freight, that's junk. These are hardened steel, and I'm going to get the other set of them very shortly. So I've got to call my customer and tell him and apologize that I got a couple days behind on this. And that's going to be my video. But that's all you really need to take one of these frames and rejuvenate it. Besides your tickler, I have one of those ticklers, you know, the rust ticklers and stuff like that. But I mean, you really have to get the thing apart. There's no way you're going to salvage this frame just by taking one frame and putting it on another truck. You're going to have the same problem. This frame is not dead because this truck died early in its life, but it already did have some rust and decay. So putting this frame on another truck the way it is, there's no way in hell I would do something like that. And that's my video, okay? I'll show you how this thing turns out, and I'll show you just exactly what my thoughts are, and that's going to be about it. Thanks.